Hey everyone, welcome to Tube of Toons. I'm Luke.
I'm Enos.
I'm Rowan.
And today we're going to be reviewing She-Ra and the Princesses of Power Season 5. If anyone's not been here before, the way reviews work on this channel is we're going to do a quick non-spoiler review. If you've not seen the show yet, we can help you make up your mind. And then we will go into spoilers, but don't worry, we're gonna warn you before that happens. So guys, what did we all think?
Well, I loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah.
I was very pleasantly surprised because when She-Ra started, I wasn't really I liked the design, I liked the aesthetic. I grew up with the old one. I ended up being really, really invested. So I'm hoping later on when I have time to really go back and analyze it now in full detail because I was kind of amazed just by the colors.
Yeah, well, I really love this season. I mean, I've always loved She-Ra. I mean, this series, I've never really seen the original series. I've seen the odd episode, but I've enjoyed this series pretty much since it started. I really enjoyed this season. I do think it may be the best season of the show. It was really good, very well paced, great action, great characters. Right, there's not much that can be said about this season without going into too many details. So I'm gonna give the spoiler warning now. If you haven't seen season 5, click away. So I'm just gonna ask basically what are your initial thoughts, but
I really loved it. Overall, I'm so glad that we got to see more of some smaller characters that we didn't get to see in the past. I think there's a lot of interesting friendship dynamics coming to a head at this point, because I mean season 4 really did focus on that wedge that was going between Glimmer and then Bo and Adora on the other side of that. I found that quite unpleasant, which is the point. It's meant to feel uncomfortable. It's meant to be you can relate to it as well, because I think that we all probably had I mean definitely on a small scale, but we've all had uncomfortable fallouts with friends or just drifting away and that kind of thing. So I think that was really interesting, and I like that they didn't just immediately have them snap back to being super close friends. That was just really nice to see, because a lot of it's children's TV, and so sometimes for the sake of driving the story forward and not taking you can't just take too much time on that kind of thing. But I think in this case it was nice that they did that. And then obviously I love seeing Catra and Adora coming together again, and then probably just talking and stuff, because you go from the beginning they're best friends, and you have all these times when they're yelling at each other. Just seeing them be together is really nice.
With Catra and Adora, what I liked and I thought it was important was really we like to kind of glamorize these kind of strong-headed people and yay and I got this and why aren't you like this, and we do want to have a certain ability to speak out in friendships and not always keep it roses.
Yeah.
But the issue was that Catra at some point was really toxic, man. No, I think they could only really get back into this deeper friendship when Adora made it really clear to Catra, hey, I'm not taking this anymore. You need to deal with this yourself. It doesn't work like this. So I really liked how they showed Catra's vulnerability and her really ability. But it's exactly like you said. It's Catra had those intense feelings of being left behind. She didn't want to follow Adora. Couldn't believe that Adora would do it. And with Glimmer, it's kind of the same thing. So Catra and Glimmer are really not that different.
I think with Catra, obviously at the end they get together, and this was something that I saw spoiled on Instagram.
I also saw this spoiled.
Mine, yep. All of us.
I saw this spoil, and I think I was at episode 1 or 2. I was very early into the season, and I was ooh, I don't know how I feel, because at the start of this season, I didn't want Catra to get redeemed. I was she's been a right piece of work for the last 4 seasons. I was just no, she doesn't deserve it. But then as this season progressed, because I liked that it was a slow burn of being redeemed.
It had to be, otherwise it would have just been too weird.
It wasn't just because I was scared that the minute she saved Glimmer, I was oh, they're all gonna be best friends now. And it's yes, they went to rescue her. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. It was, she had to earn it. And I still was very uneasy about her until that point with confronting Shadow Weaver when she was oh, why are you letting Adora do this? You're up to something. I was okay, maybe we can trust her then. And it was just I liked, in the end, I liked the way they did it, but I was very uneasy when I first saw it, and I was like, oh, okay. But overall, I really enjoyed what they did with Catra.
It's better than the controversial Shadow Weaver moment, okay? Because we still know everyone's like, Shadow Weaver is an abusive person. Shadow Weaver has barely any redemptions. And then she dies in the end. And you're like, well, it's a contradictory thing. You either, like, you can be like, oh, I forgive her, or you don't. And personally for me, like, yeah, she died for Catra and Adora, and I guess that shows a little bit of love, but it's not an excuse for the years and years and years of emotional baggage that she left.
What I would like to say about Shadow Weaver is that what I've always found with her is I think that they do a really good job with her feeling like a mother, and she has really powerful scenes. Whenever we're talking about Catra and Dora, I agree that she's not redeemed, but like you said, she's a perfect example of an imperfect character.
Yeah.
And I think they did that well. And I don't think everyone should fit neatly into like a box where they're like, oh, this person was redeemed and this person is, evil forever. Like, I think it's nice to have at least someone who falls into that category of like, we can't forgive her. She did really bad things. She's not a very nice person at the end of the day.
It's like Hordak, right? Hordak is also one of those things. And poor like Entrapta, who got left behind and was in this series of things, and they find out she's in the Horde, and you're like, well, no, trying to see it from her side. You left her alone, and the poor baby with technology is like, if that makes sense. I hope it does.
See, I'm always torn about Entrapta. Like, I love her, like, to watch her, but, like, she's not very loyal at all. And I like the whole thing where it's just, oh, she's obsessed with technology. I don't know if it really excuses it. Like, I get that she's not got good social skills.
I think apparently they consider her, like, the autistic community has taken her under their wing, and it's like, this is our autistic baby. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense, and I actually think it's really nice to see that being mentioned, because I think a lot of the time we have these characters that have these traits, but we're just like, oh, they're like quirky, just like a cartoon version of a person. But it's actually nice to see it considered and understood that could definitely be why she is like she is, and she's a really great character.
And it's not easy, okay? Like, to be honest, right? Okay, so she lacked social skills in the beginning, but they did leave her behind. I know it's under the assumption that, she disappeared or died or ... but it's true, like, she's not loyal at all. Maybe it's the concept that she doesn't have. I really don't know, okay?
Yeah, I get her, like, changing friends. It's more the whole building robots that were, like, killing them all. And then when they were like, hey, why are you doing this? She was just like, technology. It was only when they rescue her from the island when she's like, oh, I guess I'm with these guys again now. I did like, though, that the Mister didn't trust her at first. Bo wasn't so quick to forgive Glimmer. He didn't trust Catra at first. And I do think all those things, I think that's what helped the series. They have to acknowledge that, yes, these people have, like, betrayed one another.
For a meaning that says in the Princesses of Power, okay, like for the title of the series could be really, really deep. You don't expect it, and then it gets super deep.
Talking about redeeming, the only time I wasn't over the moon was I do think Scorpia was very quick to forgive Catra. Because I just think in season 4, when she walks away from Catra, that was such like a big moment for her. I do get why, but I think out of everyone, I think Scorpia is the one person I'd be like, right, well, she shouldn't. Or like, if she did, it shouldn't be so quick. But obviously they have to wrap the series up.
When she did forgive Scorpio, like, I'm a hugger, I'm like, no! Or at least, sure, give her a hug, but then you need to talk that out, because that's why. Why would you do this?
I think it was just, the series was very plot heavy. Like this
true.
season in particular, that once they'd wrapped up the plot, there wasn't really much time for character moments. Like, we got no epilogue with this show. I think that's like one of my main drawbacks, is there was no epilogue. Like, they won, and then we got about a minute of all the characters sort of just reunited.
So I can understand that, because I agree. I was there like, okay, great, sense of relief. Now what?
Okay, so there's kind of like I don't know if it's a dream or like an illusion or what. When they're like in the future, and then Catra comes in, and I feel like people enjoyed that, and I feel like people kind of took that and saw it as that is what the future would be. So like, that's kind of, if I'm going to imagine what the future would be for these guys, I would look to that, because I think I think maybe the part of the reason that they did that, part of the reason they didn't have like the follow up at the end was because they had that and they could just kind of be like, oh, look at that, you know. So they kind of touched on it, but they didn't go into it. But.
Yeah, that wasn't so much what I was like worried about. Like, oh, what are they doing next? It was just more a wrapping up of everything, because I just feel like, you know, like the battle was over and the episode was over. Like there was, you know, you just got you got the moments where like Scorpio hugged Catra, you got the moments where like Entrapta was reunited with Hordak, and you just got one line from Emma Mister Shirt where she was like, "Are we okay with this?" Because obviously he was the big first 4 seasons, and it's like he definitely wasn't redeemed, really.
No.
Like
My Mr. Miguel keeping it real.
Him and Entrapta, but he wasn't redeemed.
Yeah, I think I remember when I was watching the finale episode, I remember checking the time, like how much time was left on the episode, because I felt like surely we can't be wrapping this all up in this amount of time.
Yeah.
So thinking back, actually really was like that was really quick. So I think it could have done with like even just an extra 10 minutes.
With Hordak, the thing was, the guy was evil, big baddie, great. The guy did not have an easy life either with his brother, right, with the Prime Horde. Because if you think about it, like, it's a cult. And I don't think he dealt with it really, and this is in no way defending him, like, but the guy had an abusive family, whatever you want to call it, and then he went out on his own, did make his semi-own personality, so yay, brownie points for that.
I was having like a moment during the season where I was like, are we actually going to find Hordak? Because I feel like we found like wrong Hordak.
We never did,
we
right?
Were really running
and
with
we've
it.
like replaced him.
I'm like, are we going to have both of these characters simultaneously in the same shot? And like,
I don't think we ever did we? Yeah, see, like, for me, wrong Hordak, like, he was completely brainwashed, and it's just like, yeah, okay, I like him. Whereas Hordak is like, he was brainwashed at the start, but that was like thousands of years ago before the series started. So like, we've always known Hordak as like someone who's just evil. Yes, he's been victimized earlier in his youth, but I don't think that's ever a justification.
Oh, not at all.
He was evil and he wanted to take over the planet and he wanted to kill lots of people. I always liked his relationship with Entrapta. So we've mentioned a lot about the Horde. What did you think of Horde Prime? Because really, we've only had glimpses of him in the past, but we got to see him properly in this season.
Scary. But scary in the sense where he seems so big that he can't, like, he has no personality almost.
For me, I was not expecting him to like look how he looked. I thought he's got such a different style going on from Hordak, because I really thought it was going to be more Hordak-y. Yeah, he's crazy. He's like huge as well. He's very like scary figure. I'm not a big fan of him because I just don't think that he had like that charismatic personality or some of the depth that we've seen with other villains. Like obviously this is a great show for villains, and he doesn't have that, whereas the other people do. But I mean, I guess that's kind of why he is the biggest bad, because there's no redeeming him. And
I think he was a great like natural progression from Hordak. The series started off with like Shadow Weaver was sort of the big bad, and then it was Hordak, and now it's Horde Prime. And like, yes, he's less charismatic. He's not got much personality. And I do think if he'd been the villain for all 5 seasons, it would have been hard to latch on to like the show. But at the same time, I feel this was just the perfect final season villain. The scale has been blown wide open. He's a big threat. Yeah, and like this guy is to be taken seriously. So overall, I liked him as a villain. And yeah, I get he's not as like fun as the others, but I think at this point, all the other characters like have had enough development. They fill that void. And we still have like the antagonistic things. We're still with Catra and still with Shadow Weaver. And of course, we get all the princesses turn evil. Well, not all of them, but we get a big group turn evil this season. So I feel like we were still able to have those really interesting power dynamics and still have this massive looming threat over the final season. And I did really enjoy it.
The show has, really goes without saying, but I thought we should mention it anyway, is like the representation in this show is just like, it's just so good. I really can't think of another show, especially a show that has gone so far into it. And I think like Double Trouble is like a great example of that, because obviously like they consistently like stick to that throughout the show.
And it adds to their character, really. Like,
yeah, I think that is definitely, like you said, it's something that we need to mention. Like, one of the great things about this show is like how great its representation is. But I think one of the reasons that that is so good as well, that's not like the only thing the show is going for it. Because I think
yeah,
if that was the only thing the show had going for it, it'd be like, okay, that's nice, but like, is it a good show in its own right? And this is a good show in its own right. And I think it's brilliant. That's such a good show, is what has the representation in it. Like, because it's something that everyone can watch, and it's in a way that it's not in your face. It's just very much in the point of it's normalizing it, and I think that's really
yeah, and we should have that everywhere. Like, we only get better by putting them in the background, because I think that's honestly, like, you don't need to queer bait a show to
no.
put it in the forefront to then get everyone there. Whereas if you literally let it be the way it is, where, hey, show us in the world that we are, show us in how the world is diverse. And again, if you're gonna do a show with the rainbow colors, you're just gonna lose half the fan base if you don't put said rainbow colors in it with what they represent, such as Double Trouble, like Rowan said, and everything else. Like, you have to. It makes it richer. You definitely get a lot more people, and they'll be like, they understand us.
And that's another thing. It's a very diverse show. There's a lot of ethnicities in it as well. And I think it is just good. And like, it is behind the scenes as well. Like, it's not just the animated characters. Another thing is it's very female behind the scenes. Like, it's all female writers. Bo is the only like male in like a starring role. Like, all the other guys, like, there's other guys in the series, but they're all recurring characters. Yeah, I think it's refreshing as well, because like, in all honesty, it's called She-Ra and the Princess of Power. Like, these princesses are superheroes, and like, this is a full-on action show, and it's refreshing to see one that isn't just written by a bunch of guys, because it genuinely feels different. Like, obviously, I watch a lot of superhero shows, and it just genuinely feels different, and it's not obviously in a way that's like alienating to guys. I think there will be a lot of guys that don't watch the show simply because it has the word princess in the title. Really, you need to get over that, because like, it's such a good action show. It's everything about it, I think, is fantastic. The story, the action, the pacing, the characters, and yeah, the representation. And it's a breath of fresh air. It feels different to all the other action shows that I've seen, like, ever, really.
Yeah, I think it gave me a bit of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Hero vibes. But I did enjoy in the show that you got to go those moments of, hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? That moment when Bo just makes sure Adora sleeps, like, for God's sake, that is important. It's not really, it's an action show that works because it's not just action. It shows you the behind the scenes, the planning, the, hey, this is actually harder than it looks. It's not just, let's go kill baddies and save the world. It's like, this is planning, problems. You have multiple people from different backgrounds who don't agree with each other.
So obviously, at the end of last season, She-Ra loses her powers. And obviously, no one was expecting all 13 episodes of Adora without powers. But she gets her powers back. And not only does she get her powers back, we get an awesome new costume. I always loved this. I loved the first design of She-Ra, but this one was just so much cooler. They took a design that I loved, and I was just like, oh, they've made it better. I didn't know it needed to be better, but it was better.
It was. I loved the pants. First off, I love the pants, and then I don't know if you guys have seen, but on the internet, I think one of the people who worked on the design of the costume pointed out the different parts of the costume that relate to different characters. I can't remember it exactly, but I do know that like her kind of head little like tiara thing is like a nod to Patra. It was really cool to see that they've actually thought about the different ways that they can incorporate the things that are important to Adora into her costume, because obviously that shows her development and how she's made She-Ra her own, and how it's not this separate thing to her, but instead it's
It is
you
her.
know, it's
Yeah,
it is her.
In line with the redesign, the opening sequence, I don't know if you noticed, but once she got her new powers, the opening sequence started to change up practically every episode. Like,
Really?
when the allegiances changed, like Catra went from being with all the bad guys to being with all the princesses at the end. And like,
I'll be honest, I skip the intro sometimes.
oh, how could you skip that? And like, I can't skip this intro.
I
It's
can
too
very
good
easily.
to
There's a little button on the side right here, and I click it.
I'm aware, but the song is just too good. Spinnerella and Natossa. they've been so in the background. I mean, I think
Mm.
in the past we have seen little bits of them, but they were like main characters this season. And like my only thought was, where have they been? They had their own arc, and I really enjoyed them. I thought like the dynamic together is nice, but like even just like as like fighters, you know, in the war, I
Yeah,
thought like they were really strong characters. I really
Natasha's a mood. Such a mood. The lady worries about everything and tries to be sarcastic. It's a big mood. I'm like, yes, I understand this.
Yeah, it's really nice to see them in the spotlight a little bit more because, like you said, they've been there the whole time. I think we've all liked them the whole time, but I think this season we could really come to love them
yeah.
because they're such a great couple. And I don't know, like there was just so much feeling when Spinnerella was like evil, and Natasha was like, I can't give up, like I have to keep working to like save her. I feel like that's so relatable to everyone because if you're in that situation, you would feel so desperate and so helpless as well. And it's probably really difficult for like I don't know because they're princesses, they're so powerful, and then to suddenly be in a situation where they don't know what to do, they probably aren't used to it.
Yeah, it adds to the disparity.
Yeah, no, they are very sweet characters, particularly Spinnerella. Natasha's definitely got the attitude of the bunch. And I think Spinnerella was definitely a formidable foe for them all. I thought, like, she worked well. It was nice to see them fighting other people with powers and not just, like, mindless robots.
Robots, yeah.
Right, so does anyone have any, like, final thoughts just on the season as a whole? Well, the season or just the series as a whole?
So first I want to say that the star sibling characters that we meet, I thought they had great designs. I really liked seeing those guys. Yeah, I just thought it was nice. I feel like whoever designed those characters, they would like, yeah, just go for it. Like the theme is stars, just go for it. What else? Oh, I feel like we've not touched at all on Patra becoming like part of the cult essentially. And you know, it's such a transformation, and I think that was a big part of what made Prime. That was another huge part of like why he was so evil and devious. I don't really have that much to say about it, but I thought it was really interesting, and it was, much as it was horrible, it's actually a really thought idea for them to do that.
I think it also like allowed you to feel sympathy for Catcher as well, which was another good thing that helps in like her road to redemption. You know?
Yeah, because you never really see her weakened very much. Like for the whole of the series, like we know that she's she's like a very damaged person, but she's always fighting back. She's very like fighting person. So to see her like in this state where she's such a victim.
That's true.
Yeah, it really makes you sympathize.
I think it's good that we have a series to represent like today's society in another aspect. It's something a lot of series and things do. I really like how Angela is really kind of like, although she's supposed to be like the queen, she does lead a very, let's call it semi-pacifist. Like I would not want her leading an army if that's the case, because she didn't do much really in terms of active action. And I like how you have Glimmer who was really like, no, we got to do this. Like we have to do something, which is the thing that starts everything when her and Bo capture Dora. But I like how it's really maybe if I were a bit younger, I would feel it as a representation of these newer generations of kids who are really trying to be active in terms of protesting and everything else, which might seem a bit far-fetched, but I feel like it's a very important representation to have, to be like, hey, you don't, particularly with my age and the ways that we grew up, we had kids shows where you see friends do stuff together, but kind of like going against parents wasn't really the thing. And here we have shows that are like, no, if you want to do it, try it at least and fight for what you want, even if it's, you know, maybe older generations don't understand you, or an older, nearer generation, such as your parents. Like even with Micah, okay, Glimmer saw her dad again, and it was kind of this period of, I love you, I know I love you, but what you're doing is very, very problematic. So I thought that was nice. And again, I was really pleasantly surprised because I really avoided She-Ra like the plague. And I have this mentality really, when things get really big, I tend to avoid them even more, because it's not that I don't like the hype train, like choo-choo all the way. But I think it takes a bit of the fun away when discovering things yourself. And the more people be like, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this. I'm like, no. So watch She-Ra. It's worth it. If you want something to have fun with and a whole lot of colors, be my guest.
You did remind me then about Micah. I really enjoyed like Micah this season. I thought the idea of him like worrying whether Glimmer will like him, I thought that was definitely
Yes.
interesting. I liked his stuff with Froster. Like that dynamic was interesting. He was trying so hard. And yeah, it was really tragic that he was like basically a villain for the whole second half of the season. And like again, that's another thing, we didn't really get to see them reunite outside of like a hug. You know, I'm so happy for Glimmer that she has that there. Overall, I really enjoyed this season. I think it's been great. I think the show ended on a high, which, like we said earlier, is like it's not easy for a show to do. But I think
Yeah.
I'll definitely rewatch it at some point. I think the show is gonna go up there with like Avatar. Like maybe not quite as good, but like it's definitely up there with like the likes of Avatar and like Young Justice and Spectacular Spider-Man and Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, like as my like favorite like animated shows. It'll definitely be fun to revisit in the future. I've really enjoyed it.
Yes.
The type of TV show that I would want to make myself. Like, so I think it's very modern. It's really nicely complex, and I would really recommend it. I think, like, definitely, like you said, it's up there with some of my favorite cartoons, and people can enjoy it as well, which I think this is a great example of, which is really nice. I think it's very like sophisticated show altogether.
All right then, guys. I think we've said all that we need to say. So thanks for joining me, guys, and thank you to you for watching this review. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you want to see more like this, you can subscribe to the channel. You can hit that bell icon to be notified whenever more videos are ready. And cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Tube of Tunes. If you want more from the channel, hit subscribe. If you want to keep up to date with what's going on, follow us on our socials. Hope you liked it. Cheers.